When I was a kid, I knew that heaven, hell, God, Satan, angels, demons, it just didn't exist. I knew that there was no way it was possible. Ancient storybooks that have been rewritten over and over for thousands of years, they must be just that. Stories. I knew that no God would allow a 9-year-old kid to lose both his parents to some drunk asshole who decided to drive home after a night at the bar. No God would be okay with an innocent child being passed around from foster family to foster family, forced to put up with verbal and physical abuse, treated like they're less than nothing, made to know, not feel, but know that no one loves them, then just thrown out like trash the second the money stops coming in. If there was something, anything after death, my mom and dad would have been looking out for me. They would have protected me somehow. My beliefs changed 2 weeks ago, and I believe in something now. Maybe not God, but hell, demons, eternal suffering. I know that all exists. I know because I've experienced it personally. I started hearing a voice, kind of whispering in my ear, a horrific, demonic, mind-numbing whisper. The voice called itself Malphus. It kept telling me to do appalling things, to murder my wife in gruesome ways while she slept, butcher my best friends while out for dinner, run down groups of people on my drive home from a fun day at the beach. Everywhere I went, even sitting in my garage with a cold beer.
See that couple walking their dog across the street? You should sneak up behind them, slit his throat first, then stab that bitch right under the chin and twist. It'll feel so good, I promise.
It was easy to ignore and shrug off at first. I thought maybe I'd just been watching too many true crime videos or listening to too many creepypasta stories on YouTube. But it got worse, like way worse. About a week ago, the demon started using my body. It was small things at first, laughing hysterically at people's misfortune and smacking my wife's ass way too hard, then screaming at her like a psychopath when she yelped in pain, intentionally dumping a round of drinks I just bought all over Kelly, then demanding, "Clean it up and buy another round, you clumsy bitch!" Her group of friends saw what was happening, the sudden mood changes. I just explained it away. I told them it was nothing. Just that I hadn't gotten much sleep, I was trying to be funny, or that I was just in a bit of a mood. I knew better, though. But I couldn't even explain it to myself. How could I tell them my mind and body were being taken over by a fucking demon? I would have sounded like a lunatic. It would have had me committed. I wish I would have told someone. Reached out for help in any way. Committed myself, even. If I had, I wouldn't be surrounded by the mutilated bodies of my best friends and loving wife. And now, I must face the consequences for something I didn't do. I mean, I did it. I watched myself do it. I sat front row, trapped behind my own eyes while being tortured for what felt like 1,000 lifetimes. Every bone in my body being broken and contorted over and over every second of every day for millennia. Forced to watch everyone I love and held close, brutally murdered right in front of me by my own fucking hands. Some of them begged for their lives, pleaded, told me how much they loved me. I just hope my wife saw it in my eyes how much I love her. How sorry I was as blood poured from her throat down my arm, still clutching the knife embedded into her neck. I was smiling from ear to ear. He savored every second of her pain, anguish, the betrayal she felt looking into my eyes as the man she loved and trusted ended her life. This demon took possession of my body and destroyed everything. I couldn't do anything to stop him. My life was finally perfect. Malphus. Fucking Malphus. I guess I should give some backstory for context. My name is Trevor Connors. I was born in 1986 in Denver. My parents died when I was a kid. I mentioned that already. Foster care, then out on the streets to fend for myself when I turned 18, blah blah blah. As in most cases, that led to drug and alcohol abuse, petty crimes, stints in jail. The system really sucks. Enough said. My last conviction was grand larceny in 2006. That one got me 10 years in the Colorado Department of Corrections. I only served 5 with good behavior, well, 1,900 days exactly. I Gave me ample time to get sober, write my GED, and get an online degree in computer science. I got out and managed to set up some side jobs working remotely. The pay was pretty decent depending on the work coming in. Then I met Matt. I did a bunch of programming for him. I helped him build his business. He brought me on board full time. Then I met the other two owners, Mike and Jason. The four of us hit it off right away. We all had so much in common. It was like we knew each other for our whole lives. I seamlessly became the fourth to their trio of best friends. The brothers I never had. We literally did everything together. In 2017, our company took off and was bought for, well, let's just say none of us ever needed to work again. The four of us went all out for the celebration. Tuxes, limo, bottle service everywhere we went. We met another group while club hopping. Kelly, Tara, Brittany, and Cam. Cam is the loudest and most hilarious gay man that anyone will ever meet. Well, I guess no one will ever meet him now, but shit. Matt and Kelly were all over each other within the first 5 minutes. It was gross. They just couldn't keep their hands off each other. They were married within a year. Britt and I were kindred spirits. We both wanted a big family, lots of babies. Up until tonight, we were actively trying for our first. Tara and Jay, pretty much the same, but completely opposite. Kindred spirits, yes, but they didn't want kids. Loved the outdoors, sailing, traveling, all that. And that was the night Mike realized he couldn't keep his secret anymore. I mean, we all knew. We were just waiting for him to finally be comfortable telling his brothers that he was gay. The 8 of us were completely inseparable from that night on. I never had best friends like that growing up, or ever actually. Now they're all dead. Sitting 5 feet from me, covered in blood, missing body parts. And set up as if the party is still in full swing. I'm so sorry, guys. It wasn't supposed to be like this. I'm so fucking sorry. Tonight was Mike and Cam's engagement party. Britt planned the whole thing. She spared no expense. They were finally going for it. We were all so happy. It would have been my first gay wedding. I was actually really excited for that. Tonight was going to be amazing. But tonight was the night Melphis decided to take complete control over me. It's 9:27 p.m. Wow. A little over 2 hours ago, we were all laughing, smiling. It feels so much longer for me. Around 4, I felt it. The burning, the whisper. I knew something bad was coming. Melphis was hinting what was going to happen.
Kill them all, kill them all, kill them all.
I basically begged Britt to cancel. I told her I was feeling off, but there was just no way. I conceded and flopped down on the couch to try to get my head right. I put some music on to drown out the whispers. I practiced some breathing exercises, and I guess I nodded off. Before I knew it, I woke up to Mike kissing me sarcastically on the forehead, saying something along the lines of, "Sleep well, sweet prince." The room erupted with familiar laughter, and I felt better. I smiled as Matt shoved past Mike to clasp my hand, lift me up, and pull me in for a hug. Looking around the room at my friends, I felt home. No, these people were more than friends to me. We were family. Around 7-ish, everyone was here. Liquor and wine poured, apps set out. An abundance of conversation and laughter. I almost completely forgot about the voice. And out of nowhere it happened. That whisper in my head.
Let's have some fun.
I couldn't move my legs or arms. I looked down, saw that my body was functioning totally fine. I lifted my drink to my lips, but instead of the customary sensation of an ice-cold beer quenching my thirst, it was pure agony. It spread through my whole body in a fraction of a second and lasted forever. My body just refused to obey my commands to drop to the floor in pain and cry for help. Instead, I remained standing, smiling, laughing, chatting with the group of people I love most in the world. Then my slightly buzzed wife appeared next to me with a smirk, taking me by the hand seductively to join her inside to check on dinner. I screamed and begged for her to let me go. I pulled away with every bit of strength I could manage, but nothing. My physical body was here, but it wasn't. I knew somehow I was in the depths of hell. As soon as we walked in the kitchen, my body made a beeline toward the knife block. I prayed to God, any God, to help me, to smite the demon before he could do what I knew was coming. The response I got was a deep, guttural laughter in my mind that sent shockwaves of writhing pain throughout my body. I could feel him smiling as my beautiful, blue-eyed wife dropped her wine glass in terror as she watched me slowly walking towards her. I was grinning like a madman.
Babe, what are you doing? You're scaring me.
No response came from my lips.
Babe, please, put the knife down. Please, babe, I love you. Whatever you're going through right now, we can work it out and get you help.
Then my body lunged at her, burying a 10-inch chef knife deep inside her neck, silencing her forever with a fountain of gore. I heard her gargle one last word. Why? Before the blood loss was too much. Her eyes rolled to the back of her head and she dropped to her knees. The smell of fresh, coppery blood flooded my nostrils. From behind me I heard a quiet gasp, followed by the shaky voice of Cam muttering, What the f-? That was all he got out before my left hand, still covered in vibrant red, wrapped around his throat, lifting his 200-pound, well-built frame in the air with ease, then smashing the back of his head on my brand-new granite countertop with a wet thwack. His limp body hit the ground right as a heel from my bare foot landed directly between his eyes, caving his face in with a force I could have never imagined. I started laughing uncontrollably, relishing in the thrill of what I had just done. Only, it wasn't me. Still burning in the lake of fire for eternity, I casually walked toward my gun safe. I withdrew and loaded my gold-plated Heritage pistol and walked towards the sound of Jay and Mike bickering over who could deadlift more coming from my home gym. I was met with looks of confusion and awkward laughter when they saw me covered in blood, holding a handgun. They thought it was all a big joke at first. Jay's smile slowly faded when he said, Hey bro, what's going on? His words abruptly ended when in one motion I aimed and shot Jay in the right eye, never breaking eye contact with Mike. Absolute shock. Mike pissed himself as he tried to beg for his life. His words were barely audible. Trevor, please, don't do this. We're brothers, man. Please. Malphus wrapped my hand around the back of his neck and pulled his forehead to mine. In a voice that sounded like a combination of roaring thunder and paper tearing, he said,
Trevor isn't here right now, but you'll see him soon.
The gunshot was deafening. Blood splattered my face as I cried in torment, watching the life drain from Mike's eyes. I wanted to tell him how sorry I was, how much I loved him. The words that came from my mouth sounded like the screaming of billions of tortured souls from the pits of hell, pleading for eternity to end so their suffering would finally cease. I heard every anguished voice as I watched my hands reach into the exit wound on the right side of Mike's now shattered skull. Malphus giggled with glee, pulling out and savoring the brain matter. The taste of raw meat grinding between my teeth was vile. I wanted to spit it out, to empty the contents of my stomach right then and there, but I couldn't. A horrified scream came from the kitchen as Kelly discovered the still warm bodies of the beginning of my brutal killing spree. In a split second, my body shot up, grabbed the 25-pound dumbbell from its holder, dropping the pistol in the process, and I was sprinting towards the cries for help. I entered the kitchen from behind her, and with a hammer-like swing, I brought the dumbbell down on the back of her head. The impact splattered crimson red all over my brilliant white covers and sent her body flailing to the ground next to Cam. I dropped to my knees and continued the assault, blow after blow until there was nothing left of her head but gore. A primal cry echoed through my once immaculate kitchen, and my vision went black. I came to as if I had only taken an extra second to blink, still in the excruciating torment that I'd been damned to for eternity. Matt stood in front of me with a baseball bat over his shoulder. Tears ran down his face as he sobbed quietly.
What the fuck, bro?
His voice broken like a terrified child.
What the fuck did you do? Why?
The anger raging through the misery. As hard as I tried, I couldn't speak, not the words I wanted anyway.
Please, Matt, it wasn't me. Kelly went crazy, she attacked me.
That's when I noticed I was bound to the armchair in my living room. This exact one, actually. I took in my surroundings, and Tara was on the phone with 911 yelling hysterically. My gun lay on the couch to my left, and Matt suddenly swung the bat hard at the glass-top coffee table next to me.
Bullshit!
He screamed in sync with the shattering. Bits of glass flew in different directions all around the room. My body didn't even flinch or react at all.
I saw what you did to her. What you did to Brent and Cam. And Jay and Mike. What the fuck is wrong with you?
It started slow at first. A light, deep giggle. But it wasn't my voice. It was demonic. It was evil incarnate. It was Malphus. The laughter grew to an ear-piercing bellow, a sound not possible coming from any human on Earth. Tara dropped the phone, clutching her ears. Matt screamed in pain, gripping his head. His eyes and ears started to bleed. Then complete silence for a brief second. The sound of my restraints broke through the emptiness with a loud snap. I was on my feet before the sound could reach the other side of the room, and I was already grabbing the handle of my expensive semi-automatic. In the same motion, Matt took the butt of the gun to the bridge of his nose, opening his face like a faucet of blood. He hit the floor by my feet, and Tara scrambled for cover as I stepped over Matt's now unconscious body.
Oh my god.
She screamed.
God can't help you now, you fucking bitch!
The words left my mouth in a truly sadistic tone.
Please don't do this.
She begged, a futile last-ditch effort before her inevitable death. I tried to close my eyes to no avail, my hand aimed at the center of her forehead, and her eyes squeezed shut as my fingers squeezed the trigger. Matt was the only one of my friends left, but his time was limited. I knelt above him and laughed. His eyes opened and met mine, and he sputtered out,
You're not Trevor. What the hell are you?
All I could do was smile. I managed to sobbingly get out the words,
I'm sorry, brother.
And to my surprise, it was actually my voice.
I know, man. I love you.
And Matt's eyes closed for the last time.
I love you too, dude.
And again, the room went dark. I jolted awake about a half hour ago. Head throbbing, body sore, but the eternal pain was just gone. I raised my hand to rub my eyes, but stopped when I saw them caked in dried blood. Sitting around me, arranged in some sick, twisted, gruesome, worst kind of horror movie, dinner party type way, were the bodies of my family. Some holding drinks, some positioned as if having a joyful conversation, and my beautiful wife, strung up in the doorway holding a platter of finger foods, a disgusting array of the pieces of the people around me. I leaned forward and puked my lungs out. Seeing the partially digested human remains in my vomit made me heave over and over. I screamed and cried at the sight before me. I got to my feet, staggered on shaky legs towards the bar. I grabbed a bottle of my most expensive scotch. I forced the lid open and chugged half the bottle in one go. In the distance echoed the sirens of the approaching first responders. By the time I sat down in my current position, red and blue lights danced through the windows. I took another deep pull from the bottle, pulled my phone out, and started this recording. That brings us to now, and I'm torn. I really only have one of two options. Do I put the barrel of the gun in my mouth, end it all right now, and spend the rest of eternity in hell? Or do I wait for the police to barge in, take me away, live with this the rest of my life in some tiny prison cell, and then spend the rest of eternity in hell? Either way, I know where I'm ending up. The evidence is clear as day. There's no way a defense attorney could do anything for me. Well, I guess maybe an insanity plea, but what good is that after what I've done and seen? The police are at the door. This is it. I'm sorry to the families I ripped apart. I'm sorry to my best friends. I'm sorry, Britt. You will always be the love of my life. We were supposed to grow old together. We didn't even get to our 40s. I love all you guys so much. I'll see you soon.
Show me your hands! Get down on the ground now!
I'm sorry.
Put the weapon down!
I can't, I'm sorry!
No!